Helicopters flying through the city. Jerusalem is sitting pretty. No sedity. We them black thugs. Preachers get no pity. Party hard until the morning. Ain't nobody say no morning. We can elevate, heaven made, meditate. Pray I meditate every day. Relevant every day. I rise and see the horror horizon. See it when they evil surmising. Just a tip to my visor. No shade when I open my eyes. A visine come with couple surprises. The thought of a crown profound when you posing on islands. Poses wait until you closing your eyelids. Lullabies of the loveliest sirens. Ain't no silence. True seeking asylum. Had our land stolen, thrown in the projects. When you speak the truth, get the talking, you talk it. Swing from a tree, ain't talking about Tarzan. If I'm a marksman, best believe my God is a marksman. Pop crowns off the top of imposters, can't mock him.
Royal, look at us spoil. It's not like my father, keep it honest. You the father, no, we ain't coming for you. Toasted the loyal, pick up the crown, keep it 10 toes down. I pray I'm trying to be royal. Look at us spoil. It's not like my father, keep it honest. You the father, no, we ain't coming for you. Toasted the loyal, pick up the crown, keep it 10 toes down. I pray.
You taking the loss when you the vanguards. Be willing to fall for who you stand for. Are you gon' man up or just abandon? Better to speak with your action than taking it back, so it's best don't say none. Yeah, keeping it raw, keep it A1. 100 times I done did 100 crimes. 100 down, 100 rounds. Know I need to repent before the final sound of trumpets. Ain't no homecoming, coming home with 144,000 mighty men of valor. We wildin'. Dumb it down. Diamonds on my wrist, foreign torn whips. Even when I'm rich, living like I'm rich. Real niggas zip the lip and I never snitch. God could've killed me when I went and sold a zip. What's it really for? Keep your crown and keep it raw. Christ making iron might crumble like aluminum foil. Used to roll with the Forbes, now I roll with the Force. Christ King, high beams to a deer on the road.
Come keep it royal, look at us spoil. It's not like my father, keep it honest. You the father, no, we ain't coming for you. Toasted the loyal, pick up the crown, keep it 10 toes down. I pray I'm proud to be royal. Look at us spoil. It's not like my father, keep it honest. You the father, no, we ain't coming for you. Toasted the loyal, pick up the crown, keep it 10 toes down. I pray.
Mac, run it back for him.
Neo.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 4, 4, 4, the 1, 2 tribes, yeah. One Christ, one God, one spirit, one mind, yeah. 7 angels, trumpets, and vows, yeah.
Babe, what's the mount?
Let me count, yeah. 1, 4, 4, 4, the 1, 2 tribes, yeah. One Christ, one God, one spirit, one mind, yeah. 7 angels, trumpets, and vows, yeah.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, that what we do, yeah. Jacob, we coming through, yeah. We them Jews you see on the news, yeah. We them Jews that be making moves, yo. Whoa, we got the flow, with so much drip they cannot hold us. We got them showing up, kill the dragon, no opponent. Put purple on it, crown again and crack his phone it. Like Christ had told me. Deep in the movement, fluent with influence and get influence. No static, but physical beef you gon' lose. It's stop talking that foolery. Either you're being confused or confused. Smart talk with 2 lips, gets arms crossed with 2 lips. Don't care who you live up to, I'm trying to live. This light is too lit. The real Jews back on Jews, not on Jewish. Rock garments with the fringes, not a tunic. Bring out a tune and they tune in.
1, 4, 4, 4, the 1, 2 tribes, yeah. One Christ, one God, one spirit, one mind, yeah. 7 angels, trumpets, and vows, yeah.
Babe, what's the mount?
Let me count, yeah. 1, 4, 4, 4, the 1, 2 tribes, yeah. One Christ, one God, one spirit, one mind, yeah. 7 angels, trumpets, and vows, yeah.
Yo. 1, 4, 4, 4, 1, 2 soldados, cuidando a ellos que nos odian, que bravo, criando y yendo al cielo un legado, transformando en un papadeo, en un vistazo, wow. Mira, ten cuidado con un regalo. Oh, beso, 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 te hacen ciego. Traes bien en negro, ellos, they done seen it go. Labios que corren, esta congelados, bro. They say, why you always gotta do the most? Cause there's a lot of souls that are losing hope. Don't do it for the gram, do it for your folk. They say we go in hand, we don't do the boat. Oh no, press the goat, oh no, do the woke. Christ viene negro, ayo, they done seen the ghost. Oh no, we the chosen, no, standing bold. Labios que corren, están congelados, bro.
1444, the 1, 2 tribes, yeah. One Christ, one God, one spirit, one mind, yeah. 7 angels, trumpets, and vials, yeah. Let me count, yeah.
All right, family. Shalom, shalom. Good morning. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Sound check. All right, all right. All praises. Shalom, shalom, sister Brianna. All right. So again, good morning. Welcome back to another edition of History in the AM. I'm your host for today, Captain Josiah, and we're going to be going over the book of Ruth. All right. I'm not sure how far we're going to get. 1 chapter, 2 chapters. I'm not sure. So we will see. Shalom, shalom. Ashanti. Good morning. All right. So let's get right into it. Where I want to start at. Let's see. Yeah. Well, couple of things. The book of Ruth, number 1, is taking place during the time of Judges. Now, I went over Judges. It took a while. Some of it was on Facebook. Some of it was on Daily Bread on YouTube. Some of it was on the Captain's page. So it's kind of scattered. Unfortunately, it's not all in one place. But the book of Ruth does take place during the time of the Judges, like I said. And I believe it says that. Yes, it says it in book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 1. But I want to start with Judges, the last book of Judges, chapter 21 and verse 25. It says, in those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Okay. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Okay. That was during the entire book of Judges. That's what Judges is about. We had no kings. We did have judges. The Most High would raise up because we kept going off. He would judge us and send us into captivity under the nations. And he would raise up a judge to not only teach us to repent and so forth, but to deliver us out of the hands of the oppressors at that time. Okay. So now, the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, that's key, when the judges ruled, okay, that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. Okay, so that famine that it mentions It says, now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land. All right. Now, let's go back to Judges chapter 6 on that famine. Judges 6. And we're going to start at verse let's see. I'm going to start at 1. Judges 6 and 1. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. So that was key. That happened over. You read that over and over and over and over again in the book of Judges. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. And because the Midianites, the children of Israel, made them dens, which are in the mountains and caves in the strongholds. So we went and tried to hide in caves and so forth to hide from the Midianites. And it was so when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. And they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth. This is the key. Remember, this is going into the famine. They encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth till thou come unto Gaza, and left no sustenance for Israel, neither sheep nor ox nor ass. Okay. So this was a man-made famine. It says they encamped against them and destroyed the increase of the earth. Intentionally tried to starve us out. For they came up with their cattle and their tents, and they came as grasshoppers for a multitude, for both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites, and the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. Okay, so we were greatly impoverished because of the Midianites. That's that famine in the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 1. We're going to jump back there and I'll read that again. All right, it says, now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. So now I'll read 2. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephraimites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab and continued there. All right, so during this particular famine, Elimelech fled. He took his wife and his 2 sons, and they fled into the country of Moab. All right, so now I want to get a couple of things on Moab. Now, let me go back first. Let me go back to, just in case anybody's new. All right. The Moabites, their origin. Genesis chapter 19 and 30. Genesis 19 and 30. And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, and he feared to dwell in Zoar. And he dwelt in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine. So now the older daughter says, come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father, because they thought everybody was destroyed. Okay, they came from Sodom and Gomorrah. And they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. All right, Lot was drunk. And it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father. And they made their father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him. And he perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. So now 2 daughters had sex with their father when he was drunk, and they're both pregnant now. All right. Verse 37. And the firstborn bare a son and called his name Moab. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son and called his name Ben-Ami. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day. Okay. So Moab and Ammon. Okay. Moab being the Chinese today and Ammon being the Japanese. All right. That also includes the Koreans and so forth. So now, one of the terms when a close relative oftentimes has sex with another close relative is they get a condition that the child gets a condition called Down syndrome. All right. It's also called mongoloidism. All right. I'm going to pull this up on the screen real quick. If I can, hold on one second. Yep. All right. Give me a sec. Okay. All right. So mongoloid, it says, is an obsolete racial grouping of various peoples indigenous to large parts of Asia. Okay, large parts of Asia. That's all I'm gonna read on this. Okay, it is an obsolete racial grouping, so they don't want to use this particular term anymore because it's deemed offensive. But it's an absolute racial grouping of various peoples indigenous to large parts of Asia. Okay, that's what it is. All right, now look at this. These are some images of when you can look it up. All right. Mongoloids. This is what they look like. They look like, also, if you look up the Down syndrome, they look very similar. Okay. So mongoloids or people with Down syndrome look similar. Okay. This is the Chinese and Japanese, so-called. All right. The Bible calls them Moab and Ammon. So now, let's go back to the book of Ruth, chapter 1, and we read verse 2. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephraimites of Bethlehem, and they came into the country of Moab and continued there. The term Elimelech means my God is king. Elimelech means my God is king. All right. Naomi means like pleasant or delightful. And I want to get, I got like some images here. This is like a mock-up of Elimelech and Naomi. All right. Older brother, older sister. This is Mahlon and Chilion. All right. The sons of Elimelech and Naomi, Ephraimites of Bethlehem, Judah. Right. All right. Verse 3. And Elimelech, so it says, and they came into the country of Moab. So now the reason why I wanted to deal with their origin, okay, because the Chinese now, we know they live in the Far East. So I want to show you all this map real quick. Give me a second. Let me pull this map up. Give me 1 second. Oh, before I get this map, let me show y'all this book here. This book, watch this. This book here is called The Dragon, Image, and Demon. The Dragon, Image, and Demon. All right. This is page 363, we're going to pull up, and I'm going to just read this highlighted part. It says, as of Moab, it may be said, we have heard the pride of China. He is exceeding proud, his loftiness and his arrogancy, and his pride and the haughtiness of his heart. Okay, that's all we want. As of Moab, it may be said, we have heard of the pride of China. Okay, this is a historical book. So they know the Moabites are the Chinese. That's the proof. That's one example. Now, going to this map that I was going to get, right? This is oftentimes what we think about. Okay, so it says they went into the land of Moab. Okay, we know the book of Ruth is taking place in Jerusalem or Israel. So the distance, when we read this, it says Elimelech took Naomi and his two sons and they came into the country of Moab, which will be China, quote unquote. All right. But it's not talking about what we see on the screen. It's not talking about this. All right. I'm going to show y'all during the time period what we're reading about. It was right after the time we went into the land. Okay. So they dwelt a lot closer to us at that particular time. Okay. This is an accurate image of what we're reading about in the book of Ruth. So you see Judah here in the green. And then if you look right beside the Dead Sea, all right, to the southwest of the Dead Sea, you see Moab there. All right. So they dwelt a lot closer to us during this particular time. So reading verse 2 again, it says, and the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his two sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephraimites of Bethlehem, Judah, and they came into the country of Moab and continued there. Okay, a lot closer than where China is now. All right, this is another image. Look, you can see it a little bit clearer. All right. A little bit clearer there. All right, so let's continue. Verse 3. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her two sons, and they took them wives of the women of Moab. See that? And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth, and they dwelt there about 10 years. Okay. The word Orpah, or the name Orpah, let me see if I can pull it up so y'all can see it. Give me a sec. I think I have it. Yeah. Orpah. Right. Here we go. It means forelock or fawn. Okay. Also like neck. It says a Moabitess, the wife of Chilion. So Orpah, she was the wife of Chilion. Now, and the other sister or Moabite, her name was Ruth. See if I can pull her up real quick. Give me a second. All right. Ruth means a friend. That's what Ruth means, a friend. It says a Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon. Okay, so Orpah married Chilion, and Ruth was married to Mahlon. All right. I think I got some images here. Let me pull those up. All right. Again, these are some mock-ups of Mahlon and Chilion. All right. This is a mock-up of Chilion and Orpah. This is Mahlon and Ruth. Okay. We were not supposed to deal with Moabites, but remember, the last chapter, last verse of the book of Judges, it says, in those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So it happened. All right. Now, back to the book of Ruth, chapter 1, and verse 4 again. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. And the woman was left, and the woman, was left of her 2 sons and her husband. Okay. That's talking about Naomi. Naomi, now she's by herself now. All right, no family. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard of the country of Moab, how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. So now, that part right there. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread. All right. So she was in the country of Moab, and word got back down to them that, okay, there's some relief back in the land. So she decided to go back. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her. And they went on the way to return into the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, go return each to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you, as he have dealt with the dead and with me. Verse 9. The Lord grant you that ye might rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. All right, that part right there. The Lord grant you that ye might find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Notice it says that you may find rest in the house of her husband. Verse 10. And they said unto her, surely we will return unto thee, unto thy people. And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? So I want y'all to highlight verses 9 and verses 11 together. It's in verse 9 too by itself, but I want y'all to see that rest there. Okay, back in verse 9, the Lord grant you that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Okay, a husband represents rest for a sister, protection, guidance, and so forth. All right. Back to verse 11. And Naomi said, turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Okay, the answer was no. She was older at that time. She's like, listen, that's it. Y'all might as well go back to y'all country and find rest there. Okay, find you a husband there. Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say, I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would you tarry for them till they were grown? So if I get a husband even tonight and have sons, that's 20 years from now, 20 some odd years from now before y'all can take them. Y'all not going to wait for that. All right. Would you stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sake that that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. So she was going through it. Okay. Obviously a tough time losing not only her Lord, but her 2 sons. Okay. Let me see if I want to get something else real quick. Before I continue, I do want to kind of backtrack. Now, as I read earlier, all right, back in Judges, the last chapter, last verse, in those days there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Okay, so now we know that Chilion and Mahlon, when they came into the country of Moab, they married the Moabite women. Okay, we see they died. There was a particular law set up that if you died, a near kinsman would have to take your wife and raise up seed in your name. Okay, that was a law. I just want to make that point, and I'm gonna read it later on, but I do want to read this law All right. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3, because this law was still in place at this particular time. But again, we weren't following it. Okay. Many of us. Deuteronomy 7 and 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter shall thou shalt not give unto his sons, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Okay, so it was a law not to mix with the other nations, but we did it. Back to the book of Ruth. And we're going to go back to verse 13 again. All right, it says, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. So now Orpah kissed Naomi, and she left. All right, Naomi told Ruth, hey, listen, your sister's gone. You need to just follow after her. Go to your people. Let's go to Numbers chapter 21. Notice it, because that part right there says, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and to her gods. Her gods. Let's look at Numbers chapter 21. And let me look. All right, 29. It says, woe to thee, Moab. Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. Okay, O people of Chemosh. That was one of their idols, Chemosh. Woe unto thee, Moab. Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. He hath given his sons that escape and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. All right, but that's all I wanted. It said, woe unto thee, Moab. Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. That was one of their gods. Okay, so we did not worship the same God. Okay, matter of fact, I want to go to something real quick. Back in that book, on that point, that book, it was called The Demon, Image, and Dragon. I'll pull up the cover page again so y'all can see it. Let me find it real quick. Okay, this page right here. All right, the dragon, image, and demon. Gotta find a page real quick. Give me a sec. All right. Hold on one sec. Okay. It says sin. This is a word which Buddhism has kept alive in China. But perhaps there is no nation which has less sense of sin than the Chinese. It says there's no nation which has less sense of sin than the Chinese. They confess sin in general, but deny every particular sin. So look at that. They confess sin in general, but deny every particular sin. They acknowledge sin in abstract, but refuse to admit it in the concrete. Okay. They say, oh yes, everyone must have sins, but the individual addressed has no personal sins. There is such a thing as there is such a thing as sin in China, but it does not lie at my door. You see what they say? There is a such thing, but it don't lie at my door. Sometimes in answer to a question, why are you a vegetarian? The reply will be, because my sins are heavy, right? Makes absolutely no sense. Why are you a vegetarian? Because my sins are heavy. Or, so why do you go on this pilgrimage? It is replied, to escape from sin. Okay. Why do you burn incense? It is said, we all have sins on our bodies. So the point I wanted is the top part. All right. I'll go back to that. This is a word which Buddhism has kept alive. What word? Sin. But perhaps there is no nation which has less sense of sin than the Chinese. All right. That's why you see them. Oftentimes they eat in all manner of filth. Okay. All type of abominable foods and creatures, rodents, like rats, all type of filth. Okay. They have no sense of sin. They're lawless people. Let me see if I want to get this other page. No, I ain't gonna worry about that. All right. So let's go back. The book of Ruth, chapter 1 and 15 again. And she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people and to her gods. All right. Kamash, for example. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. Now, I'm going to get a couple more on that. We'll go to Jeremiah chapter 48. Just to back it up. Jeremiah chapter 48. I start at verse 1. Against Moab, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, woe unto Nebo, for it is spoiled. I'll jump down to verse 2. There shall be no more praise of Moab. I'm going to jump to verse 7. For because thou hast trusted in thy works and thy treasures, thou shalt also be taken, and Kamash shall go forth into captivity with his priests and his princes together. Okay, Kamash shall go into captivity. The Lord is going to destroy their idols. All right. Let me look at one more. 2 Kings chapter 3. Second Kings 3 and 26. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. All right. When the king saw that the battle was too strong for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Watch this. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. You see what he did? So after he saw he was losing the battle, he took his oldest son and sacrificed his oldest son upon the wall. Okay. And there was a great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. So that's all I wanted. All right. Going back to the book there, which said there's no nation like them that don't have a sense of sin. They don't understand what sin is. Okay. All manner of filth, like I said, and them sacrificing their children and so forth. And then guess what we started to do? We started to learn that foolishness. That's why the Bible says, do not make marriages with them, for they will turn away thy son from following me. All right. Back to Ruth chapter 1 and verse 16. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee. So she's begging Naomi now, like, please, entreat me not to leave thee or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and whither thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee from me. Okay, so she's begging Naomi to basically let her stay with her. All right. That is prophetic of what's going to happen. I'm going to show y'all. All right. In future tense, that's going to happen again with the nations. Zechariah 8 Because right now they look at us like we're a bunch of Negroes, monkeys. They call us proverbs and bywords and so forth. But one day they're going to acknowledge that we are the people of the Lord. Watch this, Zechariah 8, verse 23. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. You see that? We will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. That's going to happen. All right. Now, look at Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. The Bible is not a book of equality, brothers and sisters. All right. Look at Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. It says, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet and to know that I have loved thee. Okay. So some nations are going to come willingly like, no, yo, listen, I didn't heard that God is with y'all. I want to go wherever y'all go. All right. But Christ says the nation right now that calls themselves Jews or Jewish, he's going to make them come and worship at our feet. All right. There's another one, Isaiah chapter 14. Watch this. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. You see, that is not happened yet. God says he will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Right now, we're scattered across the four corners of the earth, according to prophecy. Deuteronomy 4:27, Deuteronomy 28:68, so forth and so on. We're scattered on slave ships into all nations. But the prophecy says, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. Okay, they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay, so this little small example in the book of Ruth, where Ruth wanted to stay with Naomi because she knew that the Lord was with us. That's no different than what's going to happen again. Okay, but even with the nations cleaving unto us, according to prophecy in Zechariah, Isaiah 14, and so forth, there's no kingdom for them. There's no gate, quote unquote, for them to get into the kingdom of heaven. Okay. Yes, some of them will be there for a particular time. All right. But they're not going to be equal to us. We just read that in Isaiah 14. All right. We shall take them captives whose captives we were. Back to the book of Ruth. Back to the book of Ruth, chapter 1, and where I stop at 17. It says, where thou diest will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee from me. Okay. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. So they too went until they came to Bethlehem, and came to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, is this Naomi? And she said unto them, call me not Naomi, call me Marah, for the Almighty have dealt very bitterly with me. So she says, don't call me Naomi, because remember, Naomi, let me see if I can pull that up so y'all can see it. Do I have it? Give me a sec. Right. So look at this. Naomi means the lovable. Y'all see this? All right. So it also could mean pleasant or delightful, which you see right there, the lovable or my delight. All right, that's what Naomi means. So she says, back in verse 20, she says, and she said unto them, call me not Naomi, don't call me lovable or my delight. All right, call me Marah, for the Almighty have dealt very bitterly with me. Okay, now that goes back to Exodus 15. The Lord have dealt very bitterly with me. Exodus 15 and 23. I'll go up. Yeah, I started 23. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore, the name of it was called Marah. Y'all see that? So they couldn't drink of the waters because they were bitter, and they called it Marah. So that's what she's saying here. That's what that word means, bitter. Back to Ruth chapter 1, verse 20 again. And she said unto them, call me not Naomi, call me Marah, for the Almighty have dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord have brought me home again empty. Why then call me Naomi? So why y'all calling me Naomi? Delightful, lovable, pleasant. Don't call me that. Okay, y'all see the condition I'm in? Call me Marah. I went out full, and the Lord have brought me home again empty. Why then call ye me Naomi, seeing the Lord have testified against me, and the Almighty have afflicted me? You see? So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. Okay, they came in the beginning of barley harvest. Now, look at Exodus real quick. Exodus chapter 9, verse 30. But as for thee, thy servants, I know that ye will not hear. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that ye will not yet fear the Lord God. And the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear and the flax was bald. That means the crops had began to bud up. They began to grow. All right. And the flax and the barley was smitten. This is during the plagues of Egypt, just so y'all understand. Okay. I can't read all of this, but during the plagues of Egypt, this was when the hail came down. All right. When the hail came down, it says the flax and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear and the flax was bald or bold. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. Okay, so the beginning, the reason why I wanted that is because back in Ruth chapter 1, verse 22, it said, so Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. The beginning of barley harvest was the same thing when we were leaving out of Egypt. When did we leave out of Egypt? At the beginning of the year. Okay. At Passover. Okay. We were leaving right at the Passover. Okay. That's the beginning of barley harvest. And then remember, right after Passover, you have something called what? First fruits. Okay. Which is coming up next week. All right. Right after the Sabbath. The book of Ruth. Let me see something real quick. About to jump into chapter 2. Give me a sec. All right. The book of Ruth, chapter 2, verse 1. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. Okay, so Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. So let me get Boaz real quick. Let me get Boaz. All right. Boaz, the husband of Ruth, a wealthy Bethlehemite. By the Levirate law, the duty devolved on him of marrying Ruth the Moabitess. He was a kinsman of Mahlon, her first husband. Okay, he was a kinsman of Mahlon because it's telling us right here in chapter 2, verse 1, he was of the family of Elimelech. Okay, Mahlon was Elimelech's son. The name given for what reason is unknown to one of the two. The other was called Jachin, Brazen Pillars. All right, so that's going to something else, a different Boaz. All I wanted was the first part. Let me get out of here. All right, so here's I got like a little image here. I want to show y'all in a second. Let me get back on screen. All right, verse 2. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. So Ruth says, hey, let me go out into the field and, help out. So I got some images on that. I'll show y'all. This is image of Boaz. All right. It says he was a wealthy man. And then Ruth. All right. Ruth was talking to Naomi. She requested to go out into the field so she could help out. All right. This is an example here. Her out in the field helping Ruth the Moabitess. All right, I'll read this verse again. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers. All right. After the reapers, and her hat was to light on a part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with thee. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. Verse 5. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? So he's like, hey, who's this Moabite here? What the hell is she doing here? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and have continued even from the morning until now. So she worked hard. She basically was working all day. That she tarried a little while in the house. Then said Boaz unto Ruth, hearest not thou, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. So he said, all right, well, you can stay here and work. Let thine eyes be on the field, that they do not reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young man that they should not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, okay, when you're thirsty, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young man have drawn. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? So she acknowledged, I am a stranger. You know why that's key? Because you actually have people out there, even not only Christians, but Israelites alike, that will try to say that Ruth was an Israelite. Okay. She's telling you right here, I'm a stranger. Okay. She was definitely a Moabite, number one. And earlier, remember Naomi said, y'all go back to your people and to your gods. Okay. And she's telling you right here, she's a stranger. So I don't understand where these people make up these doctrines like, oh yeah, Ruth was an Israelite. No, she was not. Okay. Oftentimes, you know what it is? What I think, okay, number one, they don't know the scriptures, but instead of them just saying, you know what, like the book, like last book, I'll read it again. Judges chapter 21 and verse 25. It says, in those days, there was no king in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Instead of them acknowledging that our people were wicked, they were not applying God's commandments as a whole in general, they were going off on a lot of things. Instead of acknowledging that, they make up doctrines. Oh, well, she had to be an Israelite. If a brother married her, she had to be an Israelite. No, that's not the case. Okay, they just make stuff up. So I'm going to read this again. Ruth 2:10. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said to him, why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? Okay, matter of fact, I'm gonna read this law. Deuteronomy. I read Deuteronomy 7:3 earlier. Look at this in Deuteronomy 23. Where is it at? Deuteronomy 23 and verse 3. It says, I'll read 2. A bastard should not enter in the congregation of the Lord. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. You see this? But as we read, every man did that which was right in his own eyes at that time during Judges. Okay, so y'all got to stop making these dumb doctrines up that Ruth was an Israelite. She was not. All right. Back to Ruth. Let's see what time it is. Back to Ruth chapter 2 and verse 10 again. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And Boaz answered and said unto her, It hath fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity. Okay, so in the land of thy nativity, and are come unto a people which thou knewest not heretofore. Okay, I know that you left everything that you had and you basically followed after Naomi. Okay. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Okay, so you trust in the Lord. So may the Lord have mercy on you. That's what he's saying. Verse 13. Then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thy handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thy handmaids. And Boaz said unto her, At mealtime come thou hither and eat thy bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reaped her parched corn, and she did eat, and was scuffled and left. And sufficed and left. I'm tired. And was sufficed and left. Verse 15. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, Let her glean, even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. So he told the brothers, he said, and when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young man, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. Don't stop her. All right. Verse 16. And let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. So she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. Okay, so he said, yeah, let her get some of the leftovers and so forth. Don't stop her, let her get some for herself, whatever the case. And she took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave to her that she had reserved after she was sufficed. And her mother-in-law said unto her, where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she said unto her mother-in-law, with whom she had wrought, and said, the man's name with whom I wrought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who have not left of his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. So now, why did she mention that? It says the man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. Because again, there was a law that if a brother was married to a woman and he dies with no children, particularly males, it had to be a male, all right, that a near kinsman would lay with her and raise up seed to the dead brother, okay, in his name. So I'm going to read that part again. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who have not left of his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. So now, that is key in understanding this particular history right here. I'm going to get the law. Now I can get it. All right. Deuteronomy 25. This particular law is what the entire book of Ruth is about. All right. Y'all need to jot this down in the beginning of Ruth, first chapter. Just write it there. Okay. So you have it. Deuteronomy chapter 25, and we're going to start at verse 5. It says, if brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without. You see that? If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. So he has to perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. What is the duty? And it shall be that the firstborn which she bear shall succeed in the name of his brother, which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. That's the key. Okay, so the firstborn son takes the name of the dead. Okay, so his name is not put out of Israel. That's the point. That's what the entire book of Ruth is about. So now that's why Naomi said to Ruth in Ruth chapter 2, verse 20, she said, and Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who have not left of his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kin unto us, and one of our next kinsmen. Now, I'm going to go back to this book that I pulled up that was called The Dragon, Image, and Demon. And I'll put the title up again so y'all can see it. I mean, the cover. Watch this. Let me find it. Look at this. This is page 79 of the book. All right. It says, I'm just reading the highlighted part. The Chinese well understood the Jewish law of raising up seed to his brother. Only instead of preserving the inheritance, it is perpetuating the worship. To continue the family line, a nephew or the son of a friend is adopted, and sometimes concubines is resorted to. I can't see the rest of it, but the point is, the Chinese well understood the Jewish law of raising up seed to his brother. Okay, they understood it because we taught them. It was a law amongst us. And Ruth was one of the first that we read about in terms of history. Okay, our history, whether she was the only or whatever case, we don't know. But we know they understood it based on Ruth alone. Okay, that's why Naomi said unto her, hey, Boaz, he's a near kinsman. She understood, because remember, the nations being amongst us, we taught them the laws. They knew certain customs and stuff that we did, the laws, we taught them. All right, it was customary. If you're gonna deal with us, you're gonna be amongst us, you gotta follow what we follow. You gotta do what we gotta do. All right. Now, we were not supposed to marry them, but they were still supposed to follow the laws and so forth. Okay. So let me get back. All right, I'll read that again. Well, I'll read verse 21 now. Ruth chapter 2, verse 21. And Ruth the Moabitess said, he said unto me also, thou shalt keep fast thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that thou go with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of barley harvest and of the wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Okay. So now I'm going to, for the sake of time, there's not a lot of precepting in this particular book. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna shut down today and just probably finish the last 2 chapters. We got through 2 chapters, so I'll just finish the last 2 next time, Lord's will. All right, Lord's will. So I pray y'all got a little something out of the lesson, family. All right, y'all have a blessed morning. All right, and hey, don't forget, Deacon Ithan is teaching today at about 4:30. So y'all make sure y'all tune into that. He's gonna go into the 10 horns, so it's gonna be a heavy class. All right, Israel. Most High Christ bless. Shalom, shalom. Y'all have a good morning.
Catch us flying through the city. Jerusalem is sitting pretty. No sedity. Weed and black dust. Regions get no pity. Party hard until the morning. Ain't nobody say no morning. We can elevate, heaven made, meditate. Pray I meditate every day. Relevant every day. I rise and see the horror horizon. See it when they evil surmising. Just a tip to my visor. No shade when I open my eyes. A visine come with couple surprises. The thought of a crown profound when you posing on islands. Poses wait until you closing your eyelids. Lullabies of the loveliest sirens. Ain't no silence. Jews seeking asylum. Had our land stolen, thrown in the projects. When you speak the truth, get the talking you target. Swing from a tree, ain't talking about Tarzan. If I'm a marksman, best believe my God is a marksman. Pop crowns off the top of imposters, can't mock him.
Royal, look at us spoiled.